We have the MEC on the line right now, and while we've got him, we're going to ask him as many questions as we can. MEC Lesufi, thank you very much for joining us on the program. We spoke to you earlier. You told us that you're urging parents to keep their children at home. Exams are happening at the moment. There's great panic right now. What is going to happen for those? Have you spoken to principals? Is this just a plea from you, or is this a fact that exams won't be taking place today?
Thanks, Leon, for this opportunity. All of us, I think, were caught off guard by the situation, and we were inundated by calls by panicking parents to say that they can't take their children to school. We have to assess the situation, influenced by one thing, to put the safety of our children first, because in some areas there were shootings, and in some areas the roads were completely blocked, and we don't want our children to go through those blockages and risk their lives. So that is why we are urging all our schools, please cooperate with parents, ensure where parents cannot bring their children, please understand and don't force those particular parents to bring their children to school under this difficult circumstance that we find ourselves in our province. And therefore, we're urging all schools not to punish learners that are not there. Where it's possible to reschedule the exam, please do so. But those that were not at school today, no single learner will be disadvantaged purely because they were not at school. We'll communicate to school principals and SGBs on how to manage this particular situation. It's an abnormal situation. It's not a situation that we anticipated, and therefore there is a need for us to be cautious, but at all times put the interest of our learners first.
Yeah. There's also a big, we heard during the insert, and this made me worry as well, is that we were saying that school has been cancelled, and I think it's very important that we get this out. School has not been cancelled. Those are at school. They are fine.
They must remain there. Yes.
They remain at school. So schools are still operating, but it's for students and learners that cannot get to school. This is for them.
Definitely. And those that are at school, because we want them to be safe, they must remain in school. The situation is volatile outside, so they must remain within the school premises. I've received reports that some learners are trying to leave the school. They must not leave. They must remain there. It's only those that can't make it to school that we're urging schools to be sensitive and to manage the situation cautiously.
Yeah. You know, there's a bit of criticism being leveled towards the department as well. Surely you saw this coming. I mean, this is not the first time the taxi industry has had a strike of this nature. Perhaps the extent of it is very, very big. But perhaps this call could have been made last night, MEC?
We accept that criticism without reservations. These kind of things happen, and sometimes they catch you off guard. We never thought that it would be this massive. We never thought that it will affect our curriculum delivery. So we accept that criticism. That would have anticipated that there would be this massive disruption.
Yeah. Have you had a chance to be in touch with school governing bodies, with principals, the Department of Education, obviously not yourself personally, but are they willing to abide by this call? Because we know this is exam time, and I'm repeating this because this is the fear of many parents and many learners that are studying right now. If they do not write this exam, are exams going to go ahead as planned, or are they going to be delayed for all learners to write at the same time at a more convenient time?
Fortunately, we work very closely with our SGBs and our principals, so I'm quite convinced that they will respect this particular policy. This is alone, and it's possible as well, because when you set exams, you don't set one paper, because we anticipate this kind of disruption. So we'll be in a position to put another paper, or the school to develop another paper, and there might be some learners that might be called to come over the weekend. So there are various mechanisms to manage this kind of situation, but we want to protect our children. I don't want to come on a television show to explain how many children have been shot, but we need that. Yeah. So we have to balance all these things. We must not be selfish on the basis of what we want to achieve for now, but must have a bird-eye view that can accommodate every learner and ensure that our children are safe. We are here because of our children, so their safety comes first. Other things can be managed. If somebody loses their life today, you can't bring that life. If you miss an exam, you can write that exam, and that's the approach that we want to take.
Yeah. All right. So, MEC, just to wrap things up in a nutshell, that the students that are at school, the learners that are at school, you stay there, you are safe, you are fine. Those that cannot get there, do not go to school. And exams, whether or not they go ahead as planned today, that I suppose you wouldn't know. Every school must make that individual decision. But those learners that can't go will be given the opportunity to either write at a later stage or sometime today or over the weekend.
Or we'll use our internal assessment policies. There are internal assessment policies as well. If you have missed an exam, there is a process that we follow as well. So it's a combination of one of those two, depending on the situation of in the various schools in our province.
All right, MEC, thank you. I think you've given us a lot more information now. I think people will be able to make their decision after they've heard this interview. But thank you very much. That's our MEC for Education here in Gauteng. Let's take a break now. When we return, we're going to continue with our news bulletin. This is a breaking news story here in Gauteng. Taxis blockading all the highways in and around, from the N1 to the M1, you name it, it's been blocked. Schools, work, everything has been hampered due to the strike.